Hi, this is an update on the All Hazards Consortium. This is going to be presented in Chicago by Mike Sapone and Dave Vanderbloemen from Dominion Energy. Mike's from Eversource Energy. And this is being done at the EEI, TDM, and Mutual Assistance Conference in Chicago. So first of all, for those of you that are new, who is the AHC? So the AHC is a 501c3 nonprofit formed in 2005 in the state of Maryland, really designed to focus on helping multiple states work with the private sector. Over the years, it's really become a public-private partnership organization where private sector leads on many issues and government leads on many issues, and they support one another based on who's leading. That's part of an interesting integrated planning framework they've developed over the years. Their focus is primarily disaster management, which has moved into sensitive information sharing and operational problem solving. They solve problems that require private sector and government to work together at the state level. This is where the problems all occur, in transportation, in security, in access, in getting businesses back to business. They have to coordinate, and there's not a lot of frameworks out there for operational planning, sustained operational planning. The stakeholders are, for purposes of today's discussion, there's a heavy contingent in the electric sector, as well as state emergency management officials, police and transportation officials, as well as other sectors, fuel, telecom, kind of the lifelines, right? Healthcare, transportation, water, retail. All of these sectors are interdependent on many issues. So with a focus on power, okay, everyone else benefits, and then we start working other use cases that move through that. The role of the consortium is really to manage this enabling framework, which is comprised of legal, policy, process, and technology components that convene year-round planning, coordinated responses to disasters, not just on the East Coast where it was formed, but we assist with mutual assistance across multiple states, including California, Texas, so forth. We work behind the curtain, so a lot of times people don't know we're there, which is how we want it. But we provide information sharing nationwide, and we manage that framework. The benefits are pretty straightforward. One is we work on operational problem solving with multiple states, kind of at the regional level. The consortium also provides kind of this continuity of operational relationships. People leave state government, they go to federal government, they don't leave us. They move from federal government to private sector, but they don't leave the consortium. It's kind of funny. It's this community that people stay in touch with even after they retire. A third benefit is speed and agility. The consortium doesn't have the bureaucratic red tape that government agencies have or that private sector companies have, so we can move very quickly to resolve issues, get people information quickly. We're a trusted enabling framework where we have the SISE. The SISE is the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment. It is a framework that includes policy, process, technology, and legal components rather. But it is exempt from FOIA. As a 501c3 in Maryland, the consortium and its SISE is exempt from FOIA requests, which are non-operational requests for information. Why is that important? The states and companies both need that to protect information so they can have honest conversations without the fear of media or non-operational blowback. So we sustain those planning frameworks as well as the solutions and the initiatives that develop out of these things, and we provide a platform for leveraging federal resources. And the last thing we do is we develop these ongoing public-private partnerships that merge investments from private and public into the same problem set. It's hard to do. So we get government funding, we get private sector funding, we get government SMEs, we get private SMEs, subject matter experts. We bring them all to focus in on a problem where needed. So that's really the benefits of the consortium, is that operational connection, the continuity of relationships, speed and agility, enabling trust framework, exempt from outside non-operational requests for information, not from litigation, but from FOIA. We sustain the planning framework, solutions, and the initiatives. We merge resources, and we form these joint investment public-private partnerships to address problems. We just released our annual report. This is a snapshot. If you go to the AHC website, you'll see this report featured there, and it is multiple pages, I think 30 plus pages, if you will, that we spell out several of the innovations, the problem-solving approaches we took during 2018, key projects and programs, new products and services, including some of the staffing things we do at an extremely low overhead rate, and then new partnerships that are forming. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to see that, www.ahcusa.org. Some of the past solutions. So we're going to look at past, present, future. So over the past, I guess, 5-6 years, the consortium and its work groups and the states have produced over 80 plus products and data sets. And they come in various forms that solve specific issues. Operational guides, dashboard, apps, website design tools, coordinating with states for mutual assistance in the electric sector and other sectors now. We produce an identity vetting and validation process so that everyone within the consortium's SISE environment knows who everyone is, that they've been vetted, and the information they're allowed to see and not see. And then, of course, we manage the SISE framework, which is kind of the big kahuna now. That is going to be a platform we use for many, many years to come. We also have kind of developed these processes for operational coordination with multiple states on many fronts. Disasters, accidents, wildfires, and soon to be cyber and physical security. And then we have focused a lot of energy on attracting federal R&D investments for electric sector issues. Those come in the form of resources, tools, meeting support, and just access to federal information that they don't open up to many people. Some examples of this over the past are the U.S.-Canadian border crossing process. This has been now it's in Rev 5, and there are several efforts going on. One at the state level to create a permanent policy, so we don't need declarations declared. Another one going on at the within Glen Eichinger, and Northern Grid with Custom and Border Protection is a process that has reduced this from many hours to just a few minutes, and that's important for those people involved in bringing crews and resources across the Canadian border. That's an expensive delay. When you get 90 trucks sitting there for 4, 5, 6, 8 hours, that's very expensive. And now Glenn, thanks to his effort and the effort with EEI and some of the other folks in the federal government and USDOT, we're going to continue to refine that down to minutes, which is great. We continue to expedite waiver and declaration process. During a recent storm, we missed some of the alerts, if you will, internal technical issue to the consortium, and some crews didn't have the waivers and declarations they needed, and the Alabama Power got stopped at Virginia way stations for quite a while. Dave Vanderblomen, thank God, gave us a call. We were not aware of that. We had not heard from the RMAGs that there was going to be movements outside of small regional things, and so we missed it. But as a result, there were some delays. So that was an example of it does work, and when it doesn't work, issues arise. So that's a big thing we continue to work on, and we hope to staff that full time over the next maybe 12 months. A new initiative that's come up is this whole regional mustering points with Walmarts and states. This is a way to create a network across the country, if you will, of Walmart and other superstore parking lots we can use for mustering points before they get into the impacted areas, and other things like access, like information sit reps, like other things from local government. Local government loves this because they can better support and coordinate on mutual assistance. And a third one here is a new one, which we have a product we're going to announce this month. It's the U.S. Department of Transportation routing hotline service, which we have been able to open up to utilities. That's a service formed during Harvey through FEMA. And FEMA cut a mission assignment to DOT. DOT got on there and started merging transportation data from multiple sources, and now has a phone number they activate during federal disasters that you folks can call and get directions based on where the water flooding levels are, what roads are open and closed, and it's live. I think they update it every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, something like that. Okay? So what's going on at present? Right now, at present, the big focus right now is working with DHS, FEMA, the states, and multiple sectors on enhancing data-driven decision-making. So they have created 4 use cases to find better data, the current best practice of what's the best source for data for commercial and retail fuel, for lodging availability, for commercial road and route availability, and for this regional mustering point. So we have 4 committees forming. We should have announcements finally going out to kick that off. We've been in the basement kind of working out the policy process of how we run those work groups, the products they're going to produce, the members involved, and you'll hear about that by either end of March or first week in April. And then we have a GIS committee, brand new committee that's formed. I think 11 utilities are part of this, along with the Consortium, Fleet Response Working Group, and members from the Sensitive Information Sharing Work Group. And it's all about developing the ORL, or Operational Readiness Level Standard, which ranks data from 1, which is good, 4 down to 4, which needs improvement. But the whole idea is to bring what are the ORL1 data sets, the best data sets for the 20 or so top weather data sets. And we have utilities pretty much across the United States helping pull this together. The idea is to create one place where that data is curated. It is the most reliable data sets for weather, for traffic, for lodging, for fuel, for commercial route. Over time, that's where this group is going. Very exciting group, and they'll have a dashboard to present shortly for executive decision making. And of course, the SISE framework continues to evolve. It is moving towards the long-term goal of where the SISE can be a 24/7, 365 framework that integrates private sector, states, and federal agencies into ongoing planning, exercises, training, data risk analytics, where we can use the federal analytical engine to create information products to help you guys know where to invest capital assets, where to position things, where to, looking at cross-sector impacts and things like that, as well as operational coordination when it hits the fan, like we've done over the last 3 or 4 years. Another big piece of this is the Consortium's relationship with DHS and the NIP. NIPP is the National Infrastructure Protection Program, their Security and Resilience Program. This is a growing program that provides funding and resources and access to information to the Consortium SISE Working Group and other groups, but primarily we're focusing here on the SISE Working Group. This program is very interesting. It leverages thousands and over $1.2 million in federal research and growing. The idea is to find out what are the problems plaguing the private sector in the electric, fuel, and telecom financial spaces, right? How do we develop information sharing products and solutions in physical cybersecurity? How do we gain access to federal data sets and dashboards? Further development of the SISE by integrating state dashboards. This is fantastic. We will have this year a prototype where you all can go into one place and look at what's going on in the impacted states, at least the ones that are participating with us, and over time that'll grow nationally. But it's all been vetted data. It's reliable. It's the best of its kind available today. So we want to integrate state dashboards here. We're increasing operational coordination with the states. We have formed a state EOC liaison committee. Every state, most of them, have a private sector liaison that interface with the private sector in that state. Well, now we have a group of them working together: Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, D.C., and Pennsylvania. It is chaired by North Carolina, co-chaired by Florida, and they are working together to support each other and to support you all in the electric sector and the other sectors as well, to expedite information flow. So if there's a storm in Florida, all these other states will provide support to Florida and to us to expedite waivers and declarations and things like that. It's a fantastic move the private sector made in the Fleet Work Group with the states. And the states are very excited about it, and that group is growing. We're talking with other states on the West Coast and Central U.S. as well to become part of that. Last couple items is new decision tools and analytic products for executives. We are working that in the GIS working group, and we're also working with DHS on another product that will focus on interdependency impacts. If something happens here in this sector, how does it affect you? Because you're dependent on that. If something happens in fuel or telecom or water, how does that impact electric? Now, it takes a lot of people and money to do that. DHS has that, and we will help use the SISE to provide the data to them to do those kinds of analytics. As an example, this is the model we're working towards, this integrated public-private analytics for critical infrastructure resilience. Bottom line is, what's going on in your dependent sectors that will impact you. So on the left, we feed in private sector information. On the right, we provide the DHS analytical engines. Inside the SISE, we vet everybody's identity. We put together our rules of engagement. We manage it. And out of the bottom comes joint planning, operational solutions, increased predictive decision support tools. Predictive, not what's happening, but what may happen. Very exciting. And continued investment. The consortium's working on a direct agreement now with DHS for long-term support of the SISE. They love it. They've been a huge investor in it. And it provides them speed to interface with the private sector operationally, which is what they struggle with. So, for those who may not be familiar, the SISE is this legal framework that brings together components that vet user identity and segmentation. How do we divide users, public and private, operational, non-operational, vendor, owner-operator, state, local, federal? We segment all of our users into buckets because that's how the SISE architecture works. So we want to make sure only people that are operational are getting operational information. And then on the right side of this, you'll see kind of this central place that they conduct a trust framework for information sharing and products, faster innovation to find a problem, fix it, and move quickly, like in hours, not in weeks or not in years. And then how do we sustain this overall planning exercise and operational coordination for disaster management, and then move into other areas like physical and cybersecurity. So that's what the SISE does. It is a legal framework that brings legal, policy, process, and technology and people together year-round to address specific issues, and they rinse and repeat. Next issue, next issue, next issue. Let me jump into this emergency routing hotline. This is brand new. We're announcing the new guide today. We've been working on this with Alex Keenan at U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Mike Mingus from EEI, myself, Chris Eisenbray, Jack Mazaris from the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. We've had a number of irons in the fire, but it is a new routing service. It's activated during emergencies when FEMA declares. This was originally for Red Cross and first responders, but the consortium was fortunate enough, working with the White House, OST, Jack Mazaris, had a meeting with myself, Mike Zappone, and Chris Eisenberg from EEI. We got US DOT to include the utilities. I've got a spelling error on the slide there. How does it work? Once it's activated, you all will be notified through the consortium. They aggregate ways, state, local government, federal government resources all into one room, and they provide an ongoing report. You call a number, and they send you they send you an email or a text with the directions. And it is operational now. It is not, well, I say it's open now, but it's operational when FEMA declares. But the website is up and running. Go to the consortium homepage. You'll get a chance to see it there. And EEI is going to send it out to the electric sector folks as well. So what's the future look like? Well, 3 areas. Increased private sector coordination, state government coordination, and federal coordination. So we grouped them this way. So at the private sector level, we're going to continue working use cases, and we hope to develop several use cases with the AEIC organization. Many of their members are already on the fleet response and SISE working groups. So we're looking at developing joint initiatives with them that require coordination externally with either multiple states or multiple sectors that are activated during a storm. So what can we do with telecom, fuel, water, and those sectors the electric sector is dependent upon? So we're very excited about that. We're continuing developing lodging, fuel, commercial route availability data sets and apps. We'll be looking to implement this regional pre-staging mustering point program officially with Walmart and others. And then we will be developing specific dashboards for comms, fuel, and electric sector decision makers, which will come out of the GIS working group. And those tools will be faster decisions with the best reliable data available. With state government coordination, we are integrating the state Emergency Operations Center liaisons into the SISE. They will all get onboarded. They will all be able to post information faster, and this will increase our operational coordination with the states like we have really rarely seen before. So, and we're also implementing with the states, we're testing it. You guys will get access to it after our test is over, a secure mobile app. For gray hairs like me, I'm not a mobile app guy, but I know I work with a lot of millennials and youngers than me that just want to get off email. So we're moving in that direction quickly. We have a really strong, we looked at 4 or 5 different versions of apps, and so we're picking one, we're testing it now. But this will give us a mobile capability where we can do everything we need to do right on a mobile app. So this will speed up notifications, emails won't get lost or buried under a pile of emails. We'll still use email going forward, but we'll use the app over time. We're going to use that more and more and more. And lastly, on the federal coordination side, we're continuing to conduct quarterly use case to solutions workshop. These are where we're working our top use cases. We had our first one at Dominion in February. Our next one's at the Food Marketing Institute in May 23 in Arlington. We invite all of you folks to attend that. These are all action-oriented, results-focused workshops. So we produce products out of those workshops and partnerships. We'll be working lodging and several others throughout the year. And then lastly, we will integrate the SISE into the NIC, the DHS Operations Center, the National Infrastructure Coordination Center. Why? Access to federal data. They have more data than we even know. And they see the SISE as a way to move that data faster to the operations people in the field. And that's their benefit of working with the SISE. They've asked us to place SISE staff in the NIC Operations Center, which we're working on now as part of a proposal for them. And then we want to continually develop the sustainment program with DHS in the private sector to sustain the SISE, its programmatic staff, and expand that across the nation. So moving staff into the western central regions and providing more focused attention to those states and certainly the utilities and companies that are out there. But the trick is to work with states. You have to be there. You have to know them. You've got to build relationships with them like we've done on the eastern U.S. We have good relationships in Texas and California and Illinois. We work with Colorado, but not like we have on the East Coast. So to do planning and exercises, you got to be there. So we're asking DHS to provide funding so we can expand beyond that as we go forward. So that's it for the update. I hope this was helpful, and we appreciate all of your efforts and interest in the consortium and the support in the long haul. Thank you.